This season just keeps getting better and better. Going into the final game of the game week, I was looking at 17 points. Sergio Aguero, my big differential captaincy, off at halftime. Couldn't even get the usual 4-point blank for me there, which would have made him my second highest scoring player of the game week. And that has happened a few times where expensive players I own have been hauled off at half-time. Dele Alli off at half-time. I've had Kai Havertz whipped off at half-time, and now Sergio Aguero. So I'm stuck with a 10.4 million injured player that could be out for about a month, depending, apparently after the international break, and 4.6 million in the world. I've got decent team value, so I guess that's one positive, but let's have a look back at game week 6 where pretty much every reliable, popular, expensive pick blanked. How am I going to shape up to solve this problem? How am I going to rise up the ranks? Am I going to be more aggressive? The answer is probably going to be yes. And then let's have a look at game week 7 and the fixtures and who to target and which players to possibly bring in for this game week. Let's get into it. Now, I know some of my picks have been a little bit punty. Sergio Aguero, Gareth Bale, for example. I know, I understand. I went for big explosive differentials. I have not played a perfect game. But let's just take this game week, for example. I just feel so unlucky in some regards. So let's look at my double Liverpool defense. Trent and Robbo. I still don't think it's a penalty. It is massively on the line for Fabinho. They say it's on the line, then it's in the box. But then let's have a look at Jack Grealish, who gets a goal saved off the line because the ball didn't cross the line. So if you touch an opposition player on the line, it's in. But if it's a ball, it's got to be over the line to count as a goal. Absolute madness. So a double clean sheet gone there. People are going to be still asking, what are you doing? Why have you got double Liverpool defence? Fabinho looks like he's out now, so it looks like Janice the cleaner is going to have to play centre half for Liverpool this week. I still believe in the boys. Patience is going to pay it off. And my captain, El Capitano Aguero, is injured, so he's got to go. I've got other things to deal with, guys. Now, we stick with my backline. There's Lamptey. For those that have any memory of my team will know I do have Reece James, who is sat on my bench. And you think, well, Gareth Bale, that's great. That means James could... No, I put James as my second sub. So that is a mistake that I'm definitely willing to admit. That is something that I did that was wrong. But Lamptey, I think that's an assist. Like, in anyone's books, it's gone down as an own goal. That is an assist for him. So I'm looking at a double clean sheet wipeout, and Lamptey not getting an assist. Grealish getting it blocked off the line, and he went... Now, Jack Grealish, I've said it before, I've watched the Villa games, because the package I've got, I can watch all the matches. Yeah, he was a little bit more quiet, but he got a goal saved off the line, so he almost scored. And he went on a beautiful run on one of them that I couldn't quite finish off. Fine. Barkley, he's my cheap enabler for the team. He did fine. Long term, no problems there. Heung-min Son, going nowhere, man of the hour, in form, probably my captain for this week. So there's no fancy little graphic I've got from the team section, guys, because I haven't decided what I'm going to do this early for a change. I'm going to have to wait, and I'm still thinking, and I'll talk about that later in the video. Gareth Bale, I just thought he'd be in the side faster. It's as simple as that. You know, if he was in the side for Spurs alongside Kane and Son, chances are it would be fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm going to see what happens in the Europa League because he possibly will still be staying. But it depends. If he's going to play 90 minutes in Europa League, he's probably not going to start. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the man who's not blanked so far this season, has decided to go ahead and blank and get 1 point there in a pretty poor Everton performance, but judging from the results of this game week, it's not a surprise. Timo Werner, the invisible man, back at it yet again. And then Captain Sergio Aguero, I thought, here he is, back in there. No Jesus, he's one of the Premier League's all-time great goal scorers. He was like less than 2% owned. I'm going to make him my captain. West Ham will concede goal, no problem there. Bam, is off at half-time, and Man City have a pretty poor game. So I don't want to make a lot of excuses, but this example just feels like it epitomizes my season so far, that everything I've tried to do differently and tried to stick with, I show loyalty here or patience here or be too fast here. Now the good thing is the players that I keep taking out as well aren't coming back to haunt me. It's just been an absolutely mental year. Let's have a look at how I'm shaping up for game week 7 and the ideas I've had. And yes, it probably involves hits, and yes, it could possibly go up to a -8. again. Okay, so here are the lads. So again, Martinez in goal, no problem. Sheffield United got a penalty, unfortunate. Yes, I've got injury worries. Robertson's still doing absolute fantastic in my opinion. Trent, I know he's still a bit shaky. He's just got an assist in the Champions League, but I still think that he is a good potential player. And here's the thing, for me, Trent is 7.4 now, Robbo is 7. I'm okay with money up front. I've got the money that I want to do to get players in midfield and up front that I want. I don't need to get any extra money just yet. When I do, that's when I might raid Trent for those funds. Let's say 3 million, 4.4 to a 7.4. Obviously, that's something I could do in the future. But right now, I don't need to do it because in the midfield area of around sort of below 8 million, it's a little bit sparse. I've got sort of the players that I do want from that area. Yes, I don't have Zaha. And yes, I don't have James Rodriguez. You can't have them all. But that's my point. I'd rather have Trent than have someone like Wilfried Zaha, who is having a fantastic season. But I'm pushing for normality. That's what I'm going for. James back in the side, 8 points on the bench, the most that he's got for me since I got him on my wild card. So I'm looking forward to him being benched. That's probably going to happen. My boys Barkley and Grealish, the Villa lads, let's see if they can keep some of that early form, or they're going to go back to the usual Villa and probably do nothing for me. Again, not going anywhere just yet. Heung-min Son is my current captain. Now that could change, giving some of the ideas that I'm going to talk about when I finish off my team. But Heung-min Son right now going nowhere. Gareth Bale. Now I'm thinking that if he doesn't start in the Europa League but comes on for maybe 20 minutes, he could play against Brighton. And then I'm probably going to hold him because I just want to give the chance there. I thought he'd have been in the side faster, but maybe I'll sway myself as well as you when you have a look at some of the ideas that I do have with that Gareth Bale money and space. Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Newcastle, going nowhere. Had him all season. I know he's playing to one game week. They've still got good fixtures. He's still like little fox in the box. He's going nowhere. Timo Werner, I've been trying to get rid of him since my wild card, and I don't even know why he's still there. Yeah, fantastic. He got me 16 points, but when I watch Chelsea, and I just think, it just feels like there's too many chefs spoiling the broth. There's an old Chinese proverb for you. It feels like there's just so much going on. Like they're trying to do too much. There's all these players, all these creativity, and there's just not a leader in there. There's not an idea in there or a plan, and it just feels like a mesh of things smashed together. It's going to take time to do it, but it's time that I don't have any more. And then of course I've got Sergio Aguero chilling there, red flag. I was really happy to have him. I thought, wow, less than 2% ownership for one of the all-time Premier League top goal scorers with no competition, because Gabriel Jesus is still out injured for about, I think it was 4 weeks he's thinking, maybe after international break. And now, it's not even his knee, he's done something else. It's his hamstring now, apparently. And then I was thinking, well, that's fine. I was thinking of Michail Antonio for at least after the Liverpool game. But yeah, bring him in early. And now, he's got an injury as well. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. So let me discuss some of the ideas that I have had going into this game week. So the first idea requires no hits, and it's just a simple swap. It would be Sergio Aguero out and pretty much any forward in. So probably someone like Danny Ings or maybe Raul Jimenez, just because I want that some kind of reliability. It would have just been nice to go straight to Michail Antonio. If he is declared fit, Antonio it'll probably be, if that's going to be my my 1 point plan. Or Callum Wilson. But I am leaning towards Antonio because he's so important. And of course, he's the talisman right now of West Ham. And he's 6.3 million, could be going down to 6.2. So I'll be keeping my eye out on that one. So here's the reason. The best plan, in my opinion, that I think I've had so far, that requires a -8. And I'm just playing for fun, guys. I know I'm having a poor season. And I know I always suggest what I want to do, and I have ideas for other people and tips and strategies and stuff, and I just don't listen to it myself because I just like taking hits. It's like an addiction, guys, isn't it? And what I am thinking of doing is Gareth Bale out, and Timo Werner out finally. And in comes, of course, Harry Kane, which goes against my idea, guys, of explosive differentials. I know that. You can see now he's 41.1% owned. I'm not too happy about doing that, but that gives me 12.2 million. You might think, finally, is he going to bring in Mane? Or if I don't get Kane, I can do someone else and bring in Salah. That's not the case. It was going to be Mane, because Salah is hobbled after the game, apparently. It was going to be something like this. And I thought, I've got 3 Liverpool, and with the defensive issues and what I'm thinking at the moment, I love the fact that he's 9.5%. He's less than 10% still. He was 6% a couple of weeks ago. And I think that's great. He's in decent form. He looks, threatening. It's Sadio Mane. He's one of the best players. And I thought, well, who's back and possibly the best player? One of the best players in the world, Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I understand Man City are not doing too well, and I understand now, again, they're forwardless, but you cannot deny the return of the king. He is the FPL king right now. He is the reigning, defending champion. He is still... Now, Man City have done poorly, but Kevin De Bruyne has been injured, he's been out, and there's no way that you can deny the ability and the potential of this player. And it absolutely astounded me. And it does go in almost in line with my explosive differentials. Kevin De Bruyne last season, these big assets, Kane 41%. I think Heung-min Son's 52% now, 56% ownership for Son. Last season, Kevin De Bruyne was in that figure, that area, that ballpark of over 50% ownership. He's 15.2% owned. 15.2% to own the current FPL champion. Now, I get it. He's blanked a few times, but, what's the old saying? Form is temporary, class is permanent. They've got Sheffield United. Granted, it's not an easy game, but Man City and Liverpool are still, in my opinion, the best teams in the league. Then he's got Liverpool. Now, the reason why I'm thinking Kevin De Bruyne over Sadio Mane... Now, I've checked the stats and the heat maps and the attempts. I've compared it with Salah as well. Of course, they're all fantastic options. But Kevin De Bruyne, if I've got 3 Liverpool and no City, when they finally face each other in Game Week 8, I just feel as though Kevin De Bruyne will be able to pick apart that makeshift Liverpool defence. And without Fabinho in the middle of the park to break it down and sort of get in Kevin De Bruyne's face, if he's the number 10 and they're having to play someone like maybe Keita or someone following Kevin De Bruyne around, I think he's going to destroy them. I think 15.2%, the same reason why I wanted Sergio Aguero last week, I'm looking at a player that is a pretty big differential. 15.2% is not particularly highly owned, and it's a very limited opportunity to own such a player. Long term as well would lean me towards trying to bring in Sadio Mane. Yes, this is a -8. It brings in Harry Kane, because Harry Kane and Cummings on right now are the 2 top players in FPL. Absolute fine form. And you can see, if we have a look at the fixtures, Bruyne at home, then they've got West Brom, and then City. You can't tell me now in the form that they're in, Harry Kane can't score against them, because he obviously can, because Man City are not doing very well defensively. Chelsea, yes, they've just got a draw against United, but Lampard has been criticised a lot with his defensive tactics. Arsenal, I think 1 clean sheet so far this season, Game Week 1 against Fulham. The most difficult one here, probably defensively, in my opinion, is Crystal Palace in Game Week 12. So bringing in Harry Kane will be a long-term one to maybe steady the ship and help me get these points to catch up to other people. But the problem that I have with that is, one, it means it's a -8. If I just go back to Timo Werner and I just hold my horses for a game week, then it's a -4. But this is why it all depends on Gareth Bale. And this is why it's not so much a team selection video, but more like a team discussion video. It's because I just have to wait, guys. These are just some of the ideas that I'm having. If Gareth Bale gets 10 minutes in Europa League and Mourinho, I'm not going to trust what he says, but if Mourinho comes out and he's saying things like, yep, he's ready, he's in contention, then I think I'd be stupid to take a -8 with Bale going out when I want him for these 2 games, because Harry Kane is fantastic, but he's so highly owned that it's going to not really rise me anywhere. But Gareth Bale is 1.2% owned. If he plays and he can just slightly outscore Harry Kane, that is a big one. And remember, I don't particularly like giving captaincy to forwards. Midfielders get clean sheet points to get more points for goals. There's just more potential for a player like, Mane and Salah, the ones who, and Bale and Son, who are forwards but are classed as midfielders, right? So there's some of the ideas that I've had. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. Let's have a look at Game Week 7 and the fixtures and which players we're thinking of bringing in or maybe taking out. So let's have a look at the Game Week 7 matches, a quick run through of some mini predictions and players to think about bringing in or taking out. So Wolves have been a really difficult one to put a finger on recently. They've never really been that explosive of a team, but with the sales and the mixes and the changes that they've had, like Doherty leaving and Jota leaving, I still think Jimenez is the one to go. I know the likes of Saiss and Kilman are still popular options defensively. Pretty sound. I know they keep losing, similar to who they're against Crystal Palace, losing some pretty late clean sheets. But for me, if I was going to go anywhere near Wolves, it would probably just be Raul Jimenez. Kilman's gone up now to 4.2. It's just one of those things where it's great if you don't mind him being your third sub in the future, but not one I would actively be, taking hits or anything for to bring in. Crystal Palace, apart from really Guaita and Zaha, there's no one really there. I mean, even with Zaha, he's having a fantastic season so far, but how low their XG is and how few chances they get, and also having to watch a Crystal Palace match is not great, guys. I'm not going to lie. Sheffield United against Man City. We keep saying it now this week. It's like the 7th time we've said it. But is this the week that it gets back to normality where Man City and Liverpool sort of dominate? It could be, guys. Kevin De Bruyne looks like fully fit now. He's just got a couple of assists in the Champions League, and a reason why I am thinking of bringing him in. Yes, it's not good that Aguero and Jesus are out, so does that mean Sterling's going to play down the middle? If that is your bag and that's what attracts you, I still think Man City options are fantastic when you're looking at Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling. If you've got Phil Foden, I still hold him, not just because he scored against West Ham, but because he looks like he's going to get some more game time again. And for his price to have a possible Man City attacker, I still think he's worth it. I know I still took him out, but nevertheless, there you have it. Sheffield United, no. Brewster is your 4.5 million sub-striker, yes. Everybody else, not for me. Burnley as well is a hard avoid against Chelsea. And I actually did call it on the stream last week when I said that Sheffield United and Burnley, I don't think we're going to get destroyed by Spurs and Liverpool, and they didn't. And I think that's the same again. I think these big clubs, when they play these defensive clubs, find it difficult. I don't know how much space the likes of Timo Werner is going to get behind that Burnley defence. They've just proven against Spurs that they can hold them off. Sheffield United are a team that can hold their own as well. So, again, Chelsea, and getting off. I know a lot of people are starting to get on to Chelsea assets with like Ziyech becoming fit again and Pulisic getting back to match sharpness. I personally am looking to avoid Chelsea for a while until I see a little bit more consistency and stability there. So away win probably, but again, I'm not fully relying on any Chelsea assets there. Liverpool defensive issues now. I know I'm double Liverpool defense, and I genuinely don't disagree with anyone who has 0 Liverpool defenders right now. I still hope that they'll come good. West Ham, if they've got Antonio back fit, or even if they don't and they put Bowen up front, or even Hallier, the fact they've got no centre halves, that is a key issue there. So if you are jumping off, of course, Mane and Salah, they're the go-to guys there. But if you are jumping off Liverpool defenders, I really do not blame you. Especially, like I said earlier, if you've got a 7.4 million Trent and you knock that down a couple of million, you turn in a Rodriguez into a Mane or a Kevin De Bruyne kind of situation, then that could be worth it in the long run. Aston Villa, Southampton. Aston Villa, are we going to get the first bout of games from Aston Villa, or are we going to get what they did against Leeds? That's going to be the telling tale. Are they going to revert back to the Aston Villa that we all know, or are they going to get back to the early this season Aston Villa where they looked really, really good? Southampton, again, also a team that's a little bit inconsistent. A great result against Everton. They've also been thrashed by Spurs. Again, it's not easy to know. I still think they'll concede for Villa assets. For me, it's Jack Grealish, and for Southampton, got to be Mr. Reliable Danny Ings. I know Shea Adams is starting to get some points now, but Danny Ings is the one that I'm always looking at there. Newcastle, you got Wilson is the talisman in that one. Apart from that, not really looking there. And of course, Everton, Rodriguez is still key. If he's fit, apparently he looked a little bit tired in that Southampton game. Maybe he needs a little bit of a rest, but definitely Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison being out, I don't know if that's negatively affecting it. They will not have Luca Digne for this game, but he will be back. His red card has been shortened to a one-match ban. I don't know. I think that will negatively affect Everton, but I wouldn't be transferring out any Everton assets if that was the case. United-Arsenal is an interesting one. Arsenal have been a little bit better defensively, but so poor in attack. I've been hearing stats of things like the defenders have got better XG right now than Aubameyang, who we all shipped out pretty much in Game Week 2 and Game Week 3 anyway. But yeah, Arsenal is still a void for me. Manchester United, if you want to get on early, the likes of Rashford and Bruno, who have ticked over pretty decently, they've done alright so far this season, then I completely understand, but fixtures still really aren't on United's side just yet. Spurs, all in on Spurs. If you've got the Kane Son double up, you're probably loving life right now. Brighton, more pay is still doing okay. People going for the likes of Trossard I don't agree with. I think if I had to choose one from Brighton, it'd be more pay. Maybe even stick with the goalkeeper Ryan and Lamperty at the back as well. They're fine. I think that would be pretty much it for Brighton. Fulham West Brom is like battle for who's going to finish at the bottom. So there's no assets there that I think people are interested in. Maybe Anguissa at Fulham or Luckman, possibly, or maybe Mitrovic for some people. West Brom I think is maybe Pereira if you've got it, but that is just an absolute FPL wasteland in that match. Leeds Leicester again. Leeds, everyone's so impressed. I'm so impressed with Leeds. I just don't know which one's going to come out. Is it going to be the one that came out and thumped Aston Villa? Is it going to be the one that's going to lose by like a goal to nil? And Leicester the same. But this is the problem with it this season, guys. It's so unpredictable. You don't know if you're going to get the Game Week 1 team. You don't know if you're going to get the Game Week 3 team, the Game Week 5 team. It feels like, Leicester have been thumped at home by West Ham, but they've gone to Man City and smashed a few goals past them. It's so difficult to predict right now. So that's why, that's my excuse anyway, guys. So that's going to be it for the video. Let's go to the outro. If you got to the end of the video, thank you very much for your support, guys. It was a little bit less organised this game week because, if I'm honest, my head's not been 100% in it. Unfortunately, I received the news that my uncle passed away from COVID-19. So for me, I just wanted to take my mind off it, and thinking about fantasy football and talking through my ideas and stuff has helped actually being a good thing. I'm glad I got in front of the camera and sort of did that today because it helps take your mind off things. So if it seemed a little bit different this game week, then obviously you guys understand why. I still hope to see you guys on the Friday stream for us to talk about our decisions for the up and coming game week. 12 o'clock UK time, that'll start. If you like it, leave a like, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. Hope to see you there, where you can maybe hopefully fix this team. That would be great. So thank you for watching, guys, and have a good one.